You're listening to the 100 Awesome People podcast. I'm Justina LeeStolz. And on today's episode, we are chatting with the creators and founders of You Are Collective, whose aim is to make sure that your mental well-being is always at the best that it can be and that you get all the help that you could possibly need. We are here today with Michael and Rebecca from You Are Collective. Thank you guys for making the wintry journey to visit me today.
Yay, of course. Thanks for having us.
And they brought drinks and they brought treats and prizes, so I'm super stoked. So tell us a bit about where you guys are from originally. Like, where'd you grow up and then how'd you meet?
Yeah, for sure. I grew up in Sherwood Park, Alberta, which is technically still a little hamlet outside of Edmonton. Was born and raised with 2 older sisters. And then I went off to...
That's tough.
Yeah. Quite a bit older, like 8 and 9 years older than me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so people often say that I'm quite mature for my age, which, can you blame me?
Yeah.
And then I went off to college. I went to SAIT in Calgary for a couple years.
What did you take?
I took broadcast news.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. What did you think you were going to do? Or what did you want to be?
Yeah, I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be an anchor or a reporter. And so I was actually in the field with a radio station out in Spruce Grove for a few months before reality kind of checked in, and I realized it wasn't for me. But the year in between, it was a 2-year program, and the summer in between the 2 years is when Michael and I met in Sherwood Park. Off a dating site. Because,
it works.
Yeah. We're super millennial like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you?
So my name is Michael Nolan. I'm 29. I'm from Newfoundland. A town called Steamboat Crossing. It's on the west coast.
Cool.
It's probably, I don't know, I can count people in town.
Yeah.
How far from Gross Morn?
Actually, to tell you, Gross Morn's my backyard.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
Yeah, my he'd technically be my great uncle, literally has a house in the park.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that's basically my ancestry, is that area of
Cool.
Newfoundland.
You do not have a very Newfie accent. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I moved to Alberta when I was 10.
Okay.
So that's where I've accompanied a country accent from Alberta.
Yeah. Or rodeo.
Yeah.
I just made a transition to Alberta when I was 10. Since then, just been living life, working. Had many different jobs as well. I haven't done the school route. That's not my it's not my forte, I'd say. But I've had some interesting jobs, I'd say. I was a railway conductor for 3 years.
Cool.
So I got to be
Was CP rail?
CN.
CN rail, okay.
Yeah, so I got to see every little boy's dream of driving a train. And
Yeah.
I got to do that through the mountains and do that through the plains in Alberta, and that part's pretty boring, but...
I know, I took the train across Canada in
gosh,
February one year, and I fell asleep in Saskatchewan, and I woke up in Saskatchewan. We literally hadn't moved, and I was like, what is going on? Everything is still flat.
Yeah, it's definitely a trip some people should see, I'd say, for sure.
It's amazing. If people can afford to do it, and I mean, do it in the cabins, not in the whatever they call it, where you just get to sit in your seat and sleep.
Yeah.
It's an incredible experience. I think it's one of the best ways to travel across the country.
That's so cool. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides that, I've just been living life. We met Rebecca. I met Rebecca when I was 25. She was a little 19-year-old. I was a 25-year-old dirty man. So.
Oh, okay.
But you know what? We connected on a level that is, I don't know, beyond words, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. And so you guys met in Sherwood Park. Mm-hmm. How did you end up in Kelowna?
We were, like I said, I realized that the dream of being on TV was maybe a little far-fetched in the industry that I wanted to be in. And it was just becoming a really, really toxic work environment. Mm-hmm. And I just kind of looked at Michael and was like, hey, why do we need to be here anymore? There's got to be something more than this. And Michael's family actually has a summer home out here.
Cool.
So we had been out here a few times in the summer and loved it, obviously.
Yeah.
And we'd both vacationed in Kelowna for summers annually. And
as kids.
Yeah, growing up. And then Michael had actually been laid off because of the Fort Mac fires at the time. So really there was nothing besides our family, which is a huge piece, but no like responsibilities holding us back to Sherwood Park. And it's cold. Yeah. It was actually one of the most blistery summers ever when we moved. Yeah, and we lived on like a 4th floor apartment where like the sun would set.
Oh, okay.
So it was like 1,000,000 degrees in our apartment all summer long. We're hating our jobs and our lives. And so we moved to a warmer place.
Yeah.
But yeah, we basically
with AC.
Yeah, exactly. On our 1-year anniversary, I think, of being together, we drove both our cars out here and moved into the summer home for a few months and have not looked back.
We literally looked at each other a week before it, I think, and was just like, how do you want to celebrate our anniversary? And we looked at each other like, I guess we're moving.
We'll get in cars and we'll just drive all day.
I thought maybe it was going to become an annual thing, but we've been here for 4 years now, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very neat, very neat. Yeah. Good choice. Good life choices. Okay, and so today you were here because you guys have started something called You Are Collective.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Where did it start? Why did it start?
It's a big story.
It's
a big story. We love stories.
Yeah.
We'll let you start it.
Oh, okay. The time is getting away from me, but it's going to be about 1.5 years now. Michael and I were just having a conversation on our patio, as we usually do. Ever since we started dating, I think always talked about a way to be in business together or a way to marry our passions, because we've both kind of hopped around between all sorts of different jobs and nothing is really stuck. And so we always really wanted to do something on our own, and we were just talking and having those conversations. And I had kind of recently come out the good side of a mental health journey or chapter in my life, where I had found the help that I needed and the support. It was funded. I was getting it regularly. Like, there was really not a lot of hoops I had to jump through. And it was fantastic. And I wanted to be able to share this story because I had heard so many times and from other people how that was not at all close to what they had gone through, and that there were so many barriers and wait lists and lineups and things were holding people back, basically.
Yeah.
And Michael kind of hopped on board, noticing the gap in the mental health community and where we could try and fit in. And so we were inspired by other social enterprises and companies like Tentree, that they're doing their piece for the environment, and that's their passion, and you can see it. Like, it really, I think, comes through in all of their designs,
showing their impact.
Even their website, right? Like, they've got that counter of trees. Like, they're still maintaining what they set out to do. And Tom's Shoes, like, being one of the first 1-for-1 businesses, and so we were like, apparel, duh, we can do that. Which
it's harder.
It's harder than you think.
Yes.
Do you mind me asking, just to go back a moment?
Yeah.
Why was your experience so much easier than the stereotypical story that we hear of, I had a mental health challenge and there was a barren wasteland waiting for me to help?
Yeah. I honestly don't know how I got so lucky, because I've struggled with anxiety, depression, and OCD tendencies my entire life. Like, you could go back to being a small toddler and it would be clear as day. And I've never really dealt with it because it comes in phases. Like, it really does come in waves for me. And back then, like, it wasn't really, that's not something you really brought up. Like, it wasn't like, oh, it must be your anxiety. Like, let's do this, and this. And so it was finally when we had really settled into Kelowna, actually, and kind of the buzz had worn off. But I was in a really great new job. Like, I was doing what I enjoy doing, like marketing and communications. It was for a great, like, small business, and I was still unhappy. I was still struggling to get out of bed, like, every morning, and I would almost be in tears with Michael because I couldn't do it. And so that company, thankfully, was very graceful with me and allowed me the time to kind of soul search. But I immediately was like, you know what? I'm an adult now. Like, I do not want to go through this anymore. This is ridiculous. And I got up and I went to a walk-in clinic.
Oh, wow.
And it was Spall Medical, which I always say good things about because every time I've been in there, they've been great. But because we had just moved here, I did not have a family doctor. And so I was so grateful, and, like, I don't even know, by the grace of God, this wonderful doctor was in there who knew about the walk-in counseling services on Doyle at the Interior Health Building.
Yeah.
And he also just sat there and, like, listened to me while I cried, and was just, like, super compassionate. And I don't know, I am just lucky, basically, that I got him and that I was still, you know, in control enough that I was able to go access those services, and it just kind of rolled from there. Like, I just kept doing what people told me to do, and luckily it worked for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why or how, but I hope that continues to be how people are treated.
Yeah. And so then, fast forwarding back to where I interrupted.
Yeah.
So you guys were sitting on your patio and decided what?
We decided we were going to create a t-shirt company, basically, and give all of the proceeds or donate what we could back to mental health services. And so we just kind of kept on with that idea. Like, you know, we both had jobs at the time, so it wasn't like life or death with this business, but we just, every day we would kind of do something little. We would reach out to print shops, or we would do some designs, or we would talk about, you know, what we wanted from this company, what we value, and things like that. And then it kind of all came together, and we applied for a business name, and we got some t-shirts printed and
started from there.
Yeah.
So t-shirts aren't free.
They are not.
And if you guys had thought, okay, well, we're going to donate back what we can, was that so we'll cover our costs of printing the t-shirts and then donate back the proceeds?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Neat.
Yeah.
And when was this? Like, when did the patio idea happen? And when did things sort of come into fruition as a business name and actual products?
If you look back, I think the first post is still on our Instagram. It was sometime in August
23rd.
2018. It would have, or 2019? 2018. Yeah, 2018. August 2018 was when, we started, like, thinking about it, looking at it. October, we got our name. And November 1st, we launched our first apparel and our website.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very neat. Very neat. And from there, what's happened? Like,
we've kind of exploded, like, with ideas, I think, more than anything. We have created multiple collections, so a bunch of new swag and merchandise for people to be able to wear and support. We've partnered with Foundry BC, Canadian Mental Health Association Kelowna. We're now working on our own campaign called the 1 Million campaign.
Yeah.
So we are working to fund 1 million counseling sessions across Canada.
Very cool. That's a big monster to take on.
It is, and
it's such a small monster, though, which people don't see yet, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, it came from Michael's dreamy brain, who, casts dreams way out there, and then we try and figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
And we've run some community events. So we ran our first inaugural slow pitch tournament. That was our first event we ever did together and as a company. We're just like, we're just gonna run a 2-day.
I don't play baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never picked up a bat really in my life.
So whose idea was it to do a slow pitch tournament?
Me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't play
Yeah.
baseball. I don't know how to play baseball. Let's do a slow pitch tournament.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
pretty
seemed
much.
like the right thing to do. I don't know. And I mean, it was great. We had tons of fun, and we had 7 teams of charities out. And food trucks and local vendors, and it turned out to be a beautiful October weekend. Like,
Wow.
People
That's
were
wild.
in their t-shirts and shorts playing. Yeah. And then we've made a lot of really great connections in the community, and we're looking forward to really keeping on with those events as well. We find a lot of value in those, and we know that the community does too. So we're looking forward to some events coming up that we're kind of working on right now.
Cool. Okay, and so the foray into the mental health sector, was that purely inspired by your experience, or Michael, do you have an experience as well?
I do. So, myself personally, I live with borderline personality disorder. More illnesses as well. So, depression, ADHD, general anxiety, and addictions. People don't think that's a mental illness. It is.
Yeah.
As much as we stigmatify it. These homeless humans on the street are not doing drugs because they absolutely want to. As much as people think, and as much as people would look at a person as they give them drugs and they do it right in front of them, it's a physical need for them, and that's not really mentally fair for them. But yeah, for myself, my journey has been, I've had a very traumatic childhood, so I've been traumatic to me, but I've been through this cycle of life and this depression and this anxiety my entire life. I've never noticed it, never picked it up pretty much until we picked up this company. And I'd say last year in 2018. Yeah, so about November 2018, when we started this, I started to do a lot of background research in mental health, and I'm a visual learner, so the more I visually looked at these things, the more I intook it, and I started to self-diagnose myself as a psychology student of a second year would do. As I talked to my counselor about it, he said, yeah, you're doing exactly what second year psychology students do, because they're so involved in their work, they're so involved in what they are, that they start to personalize themselves within it. And that's what I was doing. I was clarifying myself as bipolar, I was clarifying myself as schizophrenic, I was taking all the aspects of what I could be and trying to figure myself out from within, and that led to other methods of trying to help myself. A lot of self-medication, what would be the correct word for that?
Self-medicating.
Yeah, a lot of self-medicating, a lot of work I should not have been doing. By myself. So I made a pact with myself, as everyone makes a New Year's resolution, that I wasn't going to be depressed. And last year, my goal was to fix it, cure it, do anything I could possible to do that. And I started to background research in ways that people were curing their depressions. So I looked into psilocybin mushrooms and started to microdose them. So I did the procedure, as they would call it, except from that point, I want to say addicted to the feeling of it. And I want to say I put myself into major psychosis, which caused me to end up having panic attacks over several days. I want to say about a month and a half into this. And by the time I was finished, I wasn't microdosing at that point, I was macrodosing. And I was, putting myself in panic attacks, and I ended up passing out in the shower from an anxiety attack, hitting my forehead in my prefrontal cortex, and giving myself, 8 stitches or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was just it's kind of an experience I've been through, I've been working with, I've been trying to get help. My illness is one of, I think it's very, very misunderstood, it's very, very misinterpreted, and it's very, very misdiagnosed diagnosed. A lot of people probably suffer with this. A lot of people don't necessarily talk about it.
I mean, a lot of people don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Mental health in general is very misunderstood and not very well researched.
No, not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Well, thank you both for sharing that. And in this adventure that you're on now of You Are Collective, you already mentioned that sort of some of the goals that you're working towards is funding 1 million counseling sessions. So what does that look like? You have this big, hairy, audacious goal to reach, and what's sort of the plan to get there?
Yeah, it's going to be through a lot of collaborative work. I think we've found partnering and connecting with businesses even across Canada and humans across Canada, because like you said, mental health is still kind of hush-hush. So,
very much so.
We are still able to kind of reach out across Canada and find like the few advocates bobbing around. So it's connecting with them and just kind of, we want to bring more awareness and more information and education around mental health. So
even just the openness.
Using your voice is one of the biggest ways. Basically, we say you can like get involved or support the campaign, but basically to get to this goal, it'll be through hopefully a lot of clothing sales, but also a ton of events. So whether that's us doing the events, or having people champion them in their own cities or provinces, it's going to take the whole collective to do so.
Yeah. Now, you had mentioned at some point earlier, you both had jobs when this started. Does that mean you both are full-time into You Are Collective now?
Yes.
Wow. That was a big leap.
Yes.
Yeah, trying. I was lucky enough while being laid off that BC has a self-employment program here. So they give a program where if you have a business idea that's viable enough that they feel is financially viable, I guess. Yeah, they will set you up in a program through Community Futures here, where it's an 8-week business boot camp where they kind of give you a rundown on business from end to the top to the bottom and try and mentor you through the program. And we were blessed to have that and continuing the work with them right now.
Yeah, neat. Very neat. And in this journey of your lives and then coming together and then starting a business together, has there been an experience or a moment that taught you a huge lesson? Like, has there been that epiphany moment yet?
A few?
There's been a few for sure. Like personally or business?
Both.
Yeah.
I love a good story.
Personally, I think yours recently.
Go ahead.
So recently, Rebecca really emotionally brought herself to myself in ways that I won't say much more, but the way that you brought yourself to me in the past week or so emotionally has been a big breakthrough, I think, with me. Just your openness, I think. For me personally, though, I think the wake-up call was the smack in the head.
Yeah,
that's a pretty literal and figurative wake-up call.
It 100% is.
So with that incident, Rebecca had to witness it and basically be my rescuer. I kind of woke up in her lap, head looking at her, not knowing what happened, where it came from. Having that, I was unconscious, I want to say for a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe. And the minute I came back to, it was the dog barking in my ear and her, and it was kind of a, you're living again, so make the best of it.
It's a pretty surreal moment.
I think too, and I've been reflecting on this question or like looking back and those kind of things, and one thing, like when Michael's journey into really discovering his mental health and working on his mental health about a year ago, it was really frustrating for me because at the time I had just kind of gone through my own, and so I felt like I had this golden ticket, you know, like this solution for him that I was just trying to basically press upon him, and he wasn't having any of it because, as you know, you cannot control what anyone else does or thinks or says. Or so that was like a huge learning curve and kind of epiphany, and I think has brought us to be able to share more about how to support people with mental illness, because I feel like we kind of did all the wrong things. And then we've been slowly working and learning towards just being open with one another, and basically how to support and how to be there, not how to be the fix-it or the savior or whatever it is. So
yeah, it's tough being in a position where you've had success and you know, okay, this worked for me. Yeah. Maybe it'll work for you, and knowing you can literally only lead the horse to water, right? Exactly. And maybe you led them to the wrong pond. They need to drink from a different pond, right? So yeah, that can be frustrating for sure.
Yeah. And I want to say like one for business too, because I had touched on, you know, how collaboration is key and how moving forward, like that's something that we really enjoy doing. I think we kind of always had this, well, for a year or a few months, we had, I think, a bit of a chip on our shoulder in the sense that like we had this idea and it was really our baby, and we really didn't want to get screwed over or like you know, give your idea to the wrong person or whatever. So I feel like we were always holding it like really, really, really close, which is good, but then we weren't giving it room to breathe. Like we weren't giving our project its own wings to fly. And so just like really just opening up. And you know what, if someone takes the idea and runs with it, great. I'm glad that you did it. Yeah. And we can go and do it another way. Like it's a free market. As long as I get help for free, thanks. It is what it is.
Yeah. So is that sort of the advice that you would give? Like, that's great advice to give. 'Cause I mean, in any entrepreneurial business, setup, whatever, there is a point where it's good to hold your idea close until it's to the point where, you know, you're feeling like it's good to tell the whole world about it. Yeah. But if you could go back to any point in your life and give yourself advice, what would you say to younger you? Or what do you wish somebody else had said to you?
Watch the way a tree grows.
Why? Why?
Because you don't know which branches are going to have the fruit on it.
There was something that was instilled in me in college that I really wish like I didn't take to heart too much, and it was not to burn any bridges, which is great advice until you take it to its extreme and get walked all over. Yeah. So one thing that I really try to work on is being present in this moment, and nothing that you can do right now is gonna make or break you 5, 10, however many years down the road. Yeah. So, yeah, I wish someone had just kind of been like, take it easy on yourself. Yeah. Roll with it, and things are going to come to you. Like, we're really big believers in what you give out is what is going to come back to you. Yeah. And, yeah, I think that's just something that I would hold a bit closer to me if I had learned that at a younger age. Yeah.
And Michael, do you have advice that you would have given to yourself, or you wish somebody had given to you?
Yeah. You let me think about it there for a minute, and it was rolling in the back of my head. And I think the biggest advice I wish I could have gave myself as a child was how to ask for help. I look and I stem back to all my childhood traumas. I look back and I stem to all the things I was doing to show everyone I needed help, and I wish I just knew from the beginning, and I wish I was able to control it and was able to ask for help at that time. Yeah, I knew it would have been a lot more difficult as a kid for sure. I'm an adult now and I can be mature about it and try to get that help, but yeah, I finally come to realize when those people used to come around our schools and talk about being good and being like doing drugs and how it affects them and stuff like that. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm probably that person now.
Yeah.
Right, which is good, but bad in the same sense, both. But yeah, I definitely would have told myself ways of asking for help.
Yeah, I think that's super, super important, is knowing how to ask for help. Because everyone says, oh, ask for help. But like you said, you can be asking for help subtly by body language, by passive aggressiveness, by kind of hinting that you might need help, sort of, maybe, kind of. But if you don't know how to actually ask for the help that you need, a lot of people are in their own worlds and they'll just be like, well, did you ask for my help? No. Okay, well then I'll just keep going.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's super key. And I ask everybody this: what is a frustrating or embarrassing moment that taught you something that you haven't already shared? And it can be either personal or business related.
Mine's probably one of the most recent. It's, again, asking for help.
Yeah.
That was probably the most frustrating moment in my life, admitting defeat. But it's not necessarily defeat because I feel stronger. And that's where it's battling yourself, I think, has been the biggest challenge for me from day one. I don't know if you guys read or listen to Brene Brown, but she has her whole famous vulnerability talk, and the concept that being vulnerable or admitting defeat is not a sign of weakness, but is a sign of strength and of growth, because it takes a very strong person to be able to recognize when they need help and to ask for it. Whereas a lot of people will just try and bulldoze their way through whatever struggles or pain they're going through, and eventually they're forced into defeat, right? So you either recognize it and ask for help, or it will beat you down eventually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about you?
I always want to have a really great embarrassing moment, but I feel like it just hasn't happened yet. Someone's got to push me in a pile of snow or something. But frustrating, I think I struggled a lot with not knowing what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, which sounds so dramatic, and I even felt it while I would think these things. I'm like, I'm 20, this is ridiculous. Not now, but back then. And so I think that was always something that stuck with me, and I think it's just something that we are raised and taught, right? You get this job and this is the job that you do for the rest of your life, or it sets up the rest of your life. And so I was just constantly fluctuating between what I wanted to do, and it went between, trying to please others and, trying to make other people happy, or what's going to be the most money, or what's going to be the most stable. And finally, I just kind of gave up trying to please everyone else. And that was, I think, the biggest lesson to learn, was really the only person that matters to please is myself, because I have to live with myself.
You're the only one who has to live with you every moment of the day.
Exactly. And so that was what this company was for me, is the realization that this is what I want to do. And that came from learning the lesson to just kind of give up on everyone else's hopes and dreams and just focus on mine.
Yeah. And inherently, by following your own dreams, you will inspire or enable other people to do the same thing. So it has a resounding effect, for sure.
Thank you.
So do you guys go by YAC? Because that is the acronym that it goes, or do you go by YAC or the full name?
We haven't really decided that.
It depends. Sometimes we use it for our marketing, or the way to contact us is our Yak at Us. Or our new series where we'll be teaching workshops and stuff will be our Yak at Us series. So it's just kind of more personal, but it's kind of whatever anyone throws at us, we will gladly accept. The only things It is actually spelled out, Y-O-U-A-R-E. People, when they look it up, try to put just a U and an R. We're not that cool. Or We Are Collective, which is one we hear a lot. Sorry that we didn't include you guys, but it's You Are Collective. But Yak is great too. Yeah, it's all over our website and our branding, so yeah.
Yeah. And you guys are going to be doing some workshop series. Is that through the Staple Studio? Or is that your own thing?
That's our own thing, but we are lucky to be using the Stable space. So it's their new Spotlight space that we'll be in on Friday, January 24th at 6 o'clock. It'll be our first Yak at Us workshop, and again, that's how to support someone with mental illness. So some really big takeaways from that, not just like listening to us talk about our experience, which is great too, but really
kind of what we did and what steps, and when you would take those steps. And I think a lot of it stems from not knowing really what we're Safe Talk certified, so we kind of have a basis knowledge of suicidal talk or ways people might be feeling. So there's a general bit of knowledge behind it, but our lived experience with each other, we just kind of understand those moments, and we let each other know our boundaries and let each other know just basically the skills that are required for mental health every day, which people don't take in effect.
Yeah, definitely. And if people want to find out more information about either the workshop series that you guys are doing or just about the clothing brand or how to connect with you, where do they go?
Super simple. You can head to our website, which is www.urcollective.ca. We're also all over social media, pretty much any social media that you can pick up, except Snapchat. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, Do Some Good. It'll all be under @UR Collective.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very neat. And lastly, what is a fun or weird fact about you that nobody would know?
I feel like you have so many. You have way cooler stories. The one I always use, and this one actually might be like into my life, but I technically have 10 brothers and sisters. My family is mixed, split. So I have two older sisters, and then each of my parents' significant others brought along 4 kids of their own.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, that's always
Christmas will be fun.
Yeah, it's a really stressful, busy time.
But it's the fun chaos. You guys can have like the Hallmark movie moment where there's just like 40 people in your house running around.
That's have you ever watched 4 Christmases? That's about it.
Yeah.
Me, oh God. I don't know.
You have lots of scars. That could be a cool one.
Yeah.
Why do you have so many scars?
My medical traumas, yay. Yeah, no, I've had, I broke my back when I was 21 on my birthday. It was...
Doing what?
Oh, it's going to be great. Saving a baby from a burning building? Yeah. No, I was with some friends and we were heading to the bar, being adults, I guess.
Yeah, being 21.
Yeah, being 21. And then we stopped at a playground on the way, and I ended up getting pushed on a swing.
Oh, no.
And halfway through the swinging motion, I looked at my friends and I said, let's see if I can go the whole way around. Keep pushing me higher. And I ended up on the ground.
What?
Yeah, I tried to jump off once I started getting scared, and then I caught my legs, and
oh no!
Yeah, I basically went straight to the ground, I shattered my T10 or T9.
That's not even the worst part to me.
No.
The worst part is that they carried him or made him walk to the vehicle, then drove back to the party, brought him into a bed and,
No.
and he had
They
like
still partied.
he had like a nurse friend or someone who was going through nursing who came in and checked on him and was like, you need to call 911.
Yeah, his back broken. Yeah.
Yeah.
She could see my spine, so yeah.
Oh.
He's got rods in his back, but he was a professional mover in his adult years for 2 years, so clearly
Still doing good.
yeah, no muss, no fuss.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I have a weird genealogy in my system that for repair.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Prime.
Exactly.
Wow, yeah,
Yeah.
not many people get to they broke their back and can still walk away from it.
No,
Exactly.
I've had a
Not that.
few stories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I go from just a short. I've had 3 major surgeries. 2 broken bones. Probably 15 to 20 car accidents.
Oh my goodness.
And
Yeah.
some stitches.
And some stitches.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, those
I
are
meant
some-
to be here for a reason.
Yeah, those
Yes,
are
but-
some interesting facts we would not have known.
Oh.
Well, thank you guys so much for being on the show today and for coming out and for bringing treats and coffee. It's just a delight. And if you guys want to support them, feel free to check them out on all the social medias, on their website, buy some of their swag, support some counseling sessions.
Yes.
You never know when you will need it. So thank you guys for coming out today.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for having
much.
us.
This was a blast.
Thank you for tuning in, and please do leave your comments and reviews. If you enjoyed what you heard, subscribe and share. If you know someone in the Okanagan who has an awesome business or project with a great social impact, nominate them through the website at 100awesomepeople.com. Big thanks to today's episode sponsor, Kitchen Design Co., helping you love your home. And as always, eternal thanks to my witty and talented editor, Lou Descharme. Until next time, folks, stay awesome.